Welcome to the Shiftheads podcast. I'm Shane Hewitt. A quick and easy one for you and one of your familiar favorites for this Thursday into Friday on the Shiftheads podcast, shiftheads.ca, to get involved with the Facebook group. If you really want to do us a favor, please do like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. That would be incredibly helpful for us to pass on the word of all things Shifty here on the Shiftheads podcast. He's one of your favorites. The comments about whether or not Steve Stebbing would come back in some way have been remarkable, because y'all want to know what the hell should we watch this weekend. Joining from Penticton, BC, let's get to it right now, and Steve Stebbing.
Hey Shane, how's it going?
Welcome back, buddy. It's great to see your face again, and everyone gets to see your brand new haircut, which is nice.
I know this is crazy because, I mean, usually, like historically speaking, when we do the shift, we do get to see each other.
We do.
Like we got to see each other. Produce, Ryan got to, like, everyone got to see this.
Yeah.
So, but this is the first time that the shift heads get to see this in his glory and speaking and doing all the movie stuff, like all the gesticulation and everything that I do when I'm reviewing.
Yeah.
You only got to see that before, so now everybody gets to see it,
and which is exciting, I think, for everybody. And this is the clean cut Steve Stebbing too, by the way, because he just trimmed up the beard there, and Steve's hair was long, and so this is exciting. This is very good. Well, that's not what we're here for, although very good to see. What the hell should we watch this weekend? You posted on the Shiftheads group that you are going to do some stuff. We've got a pretty good plan, and we're going to just do our best to keep things going, which I think is all right.
Yeah, I never want to stop.
Yeah,
that's just
stop won't stop.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and like, I mean, I have to hand it to you for the quick turnaround. I mean,
wow. We got lots to learn. I've learned that in this whole process. Oh my God.
But still, that we're giving people something like within a week. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, cool. It's like we're dedicated to the shift heads. I think that's evident.
And I think the shift heads are dedicated to us. I mean, that's really the only reason why. I mean, I was actually scheduled to take some time off, and before the show ended, the radio show ended, and then I kind of looked at all my time and I went, well, I guess that means we're going to keep working. I mean, I got to tell you, Steve, the responses of everything from your posts and Ryan's posts and everybody's posts, the message I've been getting constantly, the growth of the group has grown substantially. The Facebook is way up. The YouTube is way up, like 10 times the amount of traffic. And it just goes to show how grateful all the shift heads are for everybody's contribution that's been a guest on the shift and everything else. And it also is, we always get text messages. We used to always hear from everybody, right? Like, we love what you guys do. We don't like this, whatever. You get emails, but you always have to tell yourself in the land of radio that most people won't say anything. They're just going to enjoy it. They're going to go about their day. Called appliance tuning is the nerdy thing to call it. And it's just been so remarkable to see that the amount of people that have reached out and said, hey, and you've been there all along. And oh man, it just warms my heart. I mean, I've always felt a duty to the nighttime community, and now more than ever. I mean, we don't have a nighttime show, we don't have a radio show, but to be able to at least continue the conversation and keep this stuff up I'm excited. I hope you're excited too.
I absolutely. I mean, as I said in my video, I'm a shift lifer.
Yeah.
Like I was there from episode 1. So I'm not ready to say goodbye. There's no chance. So when you said, let's do this, I think I said yes pretty damn quickly.
Yeah. And we hope everybody's going to be back, it looks like, anyway. And we're going to be a little bit, hopefully, more slick come January. We got some technology to work out. But in some capacity, we will continue to do this. It's not going to be 20 hours a week, which was what it was. Like, Vancouver's channel was 49 hours a week of radio content that they reran. Most of the channels, we populated 20 hours. So we can't do that. But we certainly can do our favorite bits and everything else, and some cool things. If you go to shiftheads.ca, you'll see there's some buttons there that are new that will hopefully show up in the next couple of weeks, where we'll be taking your suggestions of what we should do. You want a movie you want Steve to review, you can reach out there. Like, as interactive as we could possibly make it for a non-live show. So for everyone else, some stuff to look forward to. Okay, now we've got some movies here. Steve's got 5 prepared for us. The cool news about YouTube is that we can show you with the video here on all the things. And I have a surprise for Steve about something that I watched, which it could be one of the most heartwarming things that I've seen in a long time. And all of that for everybody who is listening on audio only. Sorry, we'll figure that part out. That's how it goes. Okay, one of the movies that you have been hung up on, hold up on, I guess, is The Holdovers. You want to say anything before we play the trailer?
Yeah, I feel like because I on my video that I posted, like the to say goodbye to the shift, I felt like, how can I do this video without speaking about a movie? Like, I feel like people are expecting it. And yeah, I don't just like this one. I love this movie. I think it's going to get awards attention. I'll get into that in a few seconds after the trailer. But it's a Christmas movie at its core. So I think it's important to talk about, especially right now.
All right, here it is. It's The Holdovers.
Detention, sir. He with you is already one big detention. Son of a...
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
Every year at Barton Academy, students, faculty, and staff depart the campus for a 2-week winter break. But there are always an unfortunate few who have nowhere to go for the holidays. They're known as the Holdovers.
Mr. Hunnam.
Hello, Mary.
I heard you got stuck with babysitting duty this year. How'd you manage that?
You know, he used to be a student, right? Yeah, that's why he knows how to inflict maximum pain on us.
I thought all the Nazis were hiding in Argentina.
Stifle it, Tully.
You just earned yourself a detention, sir. Being here with you is already one big detention. Son of a bitch, that's another detention.
Do you think I want to be babysitting you? No, I was praying your mother would pick up the phone or your father would arrive in a helicopter or a flying saucer.
My father's dead.
You don't tell a boy that's been left behind at Christmas that nobody wants him? What's wrong with you?
There's nobody here, okay? You stay out of my way, and I'll stay out of yours.
Let me sleep. Now, most of the kids dislike you, pretty much hate you. Teachers, too. You know that, right?
I find the world a bitter and complicated place, and it seems to feel the same way about me. I think you and I have this in common.
I don't think I've ever had a real family Christmas like this before. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Oh
History is not simply the study of the past, it is an explanation of the present.
See, when you say it that way and throw in some pornography, it's a lot easier to understand.
All right, Steve Stebbing, let's leave it there, 'cause I feel like we're going to watch the whole movie if we're not careful. The Holdovers. Tell us about it, because I mean, it's a bit of a classic cliche of a holiday movie from the bare bones of it, but the character and the depth to it is pretty awesome.
And that's where the strengths lie, because basically, yeah, this is about it takes place in 1970, and it's basically about a teacher that is hated by most of the faculty and the students. He's just a curmudgeon. He's hard on his students. He gives them all failing marks because, well, let's face it, in his eyes, they deserve failing marks. But this is also a school of prestige. This is like where a lot of politicians and everyone bring their students. So he is the problem teacher because he fails the students of prominent politicians and everything. But he is basically, by default, the teacher that has to stay behind over the Christmas holidays and stay with what are called the holdovers, the students that can't go back home for winter vacation. So he's there to kind of be their caretaker. And this is Paul Giamatti's Oscar right here. Like, this is him going for it. And I think he honestly deserves it. The movie comes from director Alexander Payne, who co-wrote the film as well. Actually, no, I don't think he co-wrote the film, so strike that. But he's known for.
At one point here, before I say that, you said that you talk about Oscar. I mean, I don't know if a Christmas movie has ever received an Oscar before. I don't know if that's a stat.
Not directly, no, I don't think so. Like it's definitely would be new territory for like something that's seasonal. But it's definitely a movie that I'm going to watch during the season. So it doesn't have to be seasonal because it's just a good damn movie at its core. But I would also say that the cook in it, Mary, played by Divine Joy Randolph,
That's that cigarette lady. Yeah.
Yes, she is phenomenal in this one. People may recognize her from Only Murders in the Building. She plays the lead cop in that show. But she is really hitting her stride in this movie, and it's really some special stuff. Which is honestly why I can't stop talking about this film. And it's also like very much a throwback film because it reminds me of a filmmaker named Hal Ashby, who made like Harold and Maude and Being There and just so many different films over his career. The Last Detail with Jack Nicholson. And his films have a certain style and have a certain look to it. And this is exactly what Alexander Payne has done with his cinematography and with the storytelling in this one and just the look of the film. Plus, if you're going back to Harold and Maude, that whole soundtrack is done by Cat Stevens. There's a lot of Cat Stevens in The Holdovers.
There we go.
So it just gives you that feeling. And yeah, it's a 5 out of 5. If anyone follows me on Letterboxd, I 5'd this one.
All right, there you go. Steve Stebbing, and what the hell should we watch this weekend? SteveStebbing.ca, by the way. You can go to his website and get all the things just for those who want to know. All right, next on the list, Steve, we have this little movie, as soon as I get it ready here, which is called Saltburn. Any comments before we go?
This is the second film from Emerald Fennell, who did Promising Young Woman, and she is coming to grab people by the throat with this one because, oh boy, this movie.
All right.
Christmas party tonight. NFI, me and you, not fucking invited.
You all right?
Yeah, I've got a flat tire.
Take my bike.
Hey, that is so kind. Thank you. I'm sorry I don't know your name. I'm Felix.
Oliver.
Oliver. Oliver, I love you. I love you. All right, cheers, Ollie.
My parents, they've got problems.
What do you mean problems?
I don't think I'll ever go home again.
Well, why don't you come home with me? Come to Saltburn.
Well, of course, it turns into a scary movie now.
Wow.
And here he is now.
Not a scary movie?
Beautiful
Not scary.
eyes. Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, I told you it wasn't a minger.
Oh, but darling, you're kind about everyone. You can't be trusted.
I had them hang up an old school dinner jacket. We dressed for dinner here.
Dressed for dinner?
Yeah, it was like black tie.
I think I like you even more than last year's one.
You're so,
So what?
real.
Can't have been easy for Venetia. With you being a mother.
Why?
Now it's time to take things up a notch.
Shorty had them apple bottom jeans, boots with the fur.
This place, you know, it's not for you.
Lots of people get lost in Saltburn.
Oh, that's just giving me goosebumps.
All right, let's leave it there. Okay, Steve Stebbing, it's Saltburn, and I don't know, like that is thrillery, and that's makes Shane nervous.
I would say, yeah, it is thrillery, more in the psychological department. It's also very much a dark comedy at its core. But basically, again, we're going to rich school again. This is Oxford University, but a modern time Oxford University. And Barry Keoghan's character is a new student at Oxford who is the loner. He's not a kid of privilege and everything like most of the popular kids are. And he finds a way in with the cool kids in school, notably Felix, who he forms a very close relationship quickly, and then gets invited to Felix's family home, which is Saltburn. And that's where the class system really kind of gets exposed. And this film is so massively unpredictable in its scope and where exactly it's going. It is really focused on getting depth of character, but also hanging some red herrings within this as well. And one of the most interesting films of the year. Felix is played by Jacob Elordi, who just played Elvis in the Priscilla biopic, which I wasn't really big on his performance in Elvis, but he just makes up for it hugely in this film. He is so damn good in this one. Barry Keoghan is fantastic. Rosamund Pike, who plays Felix's mom in this one, is just on another level of like dark comedy, but character work and everything. Really reminds me of stuff that like that same vein of delivery that she did in like Gone Girl. So yeah, I really like this one, and it's getting to the point now where Emerald Fennell has made 2 amazing films. So when that name gets announced of being a writer director of the next one, you best believe I'm going to be there with a ticket.
Yeah, see, that's cool stuff. And the character of the visitor, if you will, I forget his name, seems to go through his seems to go through his own sort of self-expression thing that I think seems to catch them off guard, right? Like that's what seems to happen. Like the family's like, and then he starts to get expressed and share who he is. And they're like, oh, holy moly, who's the powerful one?
And then you can bookmark that idea when you finish the film, the credits hit, of exploring that again, because the reveal, without getting any depth on that the reveal will shake everything.
All right, Steve Stebbing is here. I'm Shane Hewitt. What the hell should we watch this weekend? Well, next on the list, Steve, we've got Leave the World Behind. Comments?
Oh boy. So this one's on Netflix, so everybody can check this out immediately. The last 2 ones we talk about are playing in theaters, though Saltburn will get a release on Prime Video later this month. But this is on Netflix Friday. So and I implore everybody to watch it, especially if you loved Mr. Robot, because this is the feature directorial debut of the creator of that show, Sam Esmail.
I went online this morning and I rented us a beautiful house out by the beach. I figured if I made the reservation and packed our bags, it would eliminate most of the reasons to say no.
Wow, this is nice. Kids look so happy.
The Wi-Fi isn't working. Get a pad.
I'm so sorry to bother you, but this is our house.
This is your house?
We were driving back to the city, then something happened.
You want to stay here, but we're staying here.
We need to get them out of here.
I need to think everything's gonna be okay.
Everything is gonna be okay, isn't it?
We are seeing ongoing cyber attacks across the country.
Something is happening, and I don't trust them.
Everything I know, I have told you.
I don't believe you.
I would do anything to protect my family. What you do is your business.
Get in the car right now!
All right, there it is. That looks an awful lot like a Vancouver Costco parking lot with all those white Teslas in it.
It really does, right? But they did this one on location. I mean, this film takes place in the New York State area, Long Island area, and they actually went and filmed it in Long Island. But this movie blew my mind because not only is it well plotted, well thought out, really well acted, but it's also like really plausible in all of the plot points of what these characters are going through, because essentially, I mean, they're in the dark for a lot of it. Your main characters, Ethan Hawke and Julia Roberts, and their 2 kids head off for a Airbnb time just to get away and just to disconnect and get away. And then all of a sudden, their internet services go down, so they just think it's a localized thing. But then the house owner, the one that they've Airbnb'd off, comes back and says, I was in the city and I decided to come back home because all the power's out and everything. And then all the reveals start to happen. Was it a cyber attack? What exactly is going on with the world now? Is basically everybody forgotten through all of this? And it really kind of uses the dependability, or the how much we depend on technology to create the problem.
Yeah, I kind of get that with that sort of Tesla shot at the end, right? Like this, everything electric is failing.
Exactly. And just like I was talking about with Saltburn a couple of minutes ago, this movie also languishes in how unpredictable it is. And that is where it thrives. It thrives in being just completely paranoid. Like, as soon as the problem presents, you're into this paranoia with the characters. You might even take sides. You might take Julia Roberts' character side, or Ethan Hawke's side, or, you know, like, or you might just be aloof like everybody else is. And then the tension just rocks in this movie. And it's also one of the most beautifully shot things I've seen in a long time. Lots of aerial shots, lots of panning shots that I just mind blown of how they pulled them off. And I'm afraid that a film, because it's getting released on Netflix, I'm afraid that it'll get lumped in as just being a Netflix original.
Right.
But we have to remember, with a lot of these films that come out, and a lot of the ones that have that Netflix bumper before it, they weren't made by Netflix. They were purchased by Netflix. So calling it a Netflix original that was made by Netflix money, not accurate. So I think that you should take a more worldly mind when you're going to watch a Netflix movie, and realize that it might be something that was picked up for distribution.
Now, some of them paid for by Prime money and Netflix money are terrible.
Yep. Yes.
We got to probably acknowledge that part too. All right, Steve, Stebbing, Shane, Hewitt, thank you so much for being here with the Shiftheads podcast. And next on the list, I'm going to reorganize these just a little bit here, Steve, because before we get to the Festivus ones, I did want to get into Christmas. I think I'll start with the introduction here on this one, just to say that Ryan O'Donnell is probably really heartbroken that he's not able to be with us here on this particular podcast, because it is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
I'm retiring.
Well, in that case, what are we drinking?
Same for the goddaughter.
Dad told me you found something on a train during the war. A dial that could change the course of history.
Why are you chasing the thing that drove your father crazy? Don't move.
We need to get out of here.
Stop!
Sorry.
Helena! Dr. Jones, get him. Hitler made mistakes, and with this, I will correct them all.
All right, so there it is, Steve. The Indiana Jones doesn't have the budget to travel to a warmer place.
Oh no, they definitely travel to a lot of warmer places, but I think the media, the internet, and everyone would like you to believe that because this movie was a box office flop, unfortunately, cost a lot of money to make, cost a lot of money to put the ad space out there and everything, and it didn't do the return that it was supposed to. They're trying to make you think that this is a bad movie. And when you're taking this movie and comparing it with something like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's not a bad movie at all. And then even beyond that, if you enjoyed movies like Uncharted, more modern, like more modern treasure hunting movies, Lost City, and films of that ilk, Indy still is kind of like head and shoulders and Fedora above it.
Oh, Fedora, nice touch.
Like, it's just, yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, the whole opening scene with the de-aged Harrison Ford doing almost like Raiders of the Lost Ark era battle with the Nazis and stuff. It's so much fun to watch. And yeah, some of the the facial mapping kind of moves and shifts here and there, and kind of looks a little off. But I don't know. I had in theaters, which is like glaringly obvious. I still had so much fun with this movie. And I really, really, really love Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who plays his goddaughter in this one. The one that they look like, the trailers look the setup that's the person
She's
taking
the worst
over.
goddaughter ever, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Gets him into like some really bad situations. And then you got Mads Mikkelsen as a villain. And I just love Mads Mikkelsen so much. So I dig this movie a lot. I think it's made for a home theater as well. And James Mangold, who directed this film, so because it's not Spielberg that directed this one this time, does like an incredible Steven Spielberg impression with this film. And I can't really tell the difference between this and a Spielberg film. I really can't.
Okay, Steve Stebbing here, and you can check out the Indiana Jones. Now we're gonna get festive. Seems like it's long overdue in my mind, perhaps not in yours. I mean, I've been watching Christmas movies since July, so it's probably fair. This one from Steve is Silent Night.
Shots fired, shots fired.
All units, please respond.
All right, so not your traditional sort of
No.
Christmas theme going on here, but this has a little reminiscent of other super action. It's not a Christmas movie; it's a Christmas movie conversations.
What this one reads to me immediately is Death Wish.
Interesting.
Like very much to its core, Death Wish. I mean, you have a family man that's child is killed by gang warfare, and he is injured in the process, having his voice box wiped out. So funny fact about this movie, there's like no dialogue in this movie.
The whole movie
is pretty much silent. It's Silent Night.
I thought it was just a trailer. I thought they were going for that sort of mega sort of suspense trailer, other than what the radio calls and the stuff on the TV and things like that.
Yeah, exactly it. Yeah, because our main character can't speak.
Oh, I guess already
his voice box has been wiped. Yeah, it's been wiped out. So yeah, you have a largely silent movie as far as dialogue goes. And this is from John Woo. John Woo is like Hong Kong action master. I mean, he did Hard Boiled, The Killer, and I mean, moved to the US, did Face Off, did Broken Arrow, did Mission Impossible 2 and Paycheck, but we don't really like to talk about those ones. But he's just a masterful filmmaker. So to see him after 20 years, because Paycheck was in 2003. So that was his last American film. He's back in 2023, at the end of 2023 with this film. So 20-year hiatus. I'm going to have to bring a little bit extra to our next week one, because I'm going to get to see this movie tomorrow.
Oh, how about
So
that?
I was giving a little bit of a precursor for everybody to be on bated breath of what I thought of Silent Night. But it is playing now in theater, so everybody can beat me to the punch if they wanted to.
Okay, stevestebbing.ca for his website. I'm Shane Hewitt, shiftheads.ca for the Facebook group, so you can get in on all of it. And this is mine for you, Steve. I saw a trailer for it, and I was like, I let go of my Apple TV back in September, cost-cutting measure. There's been a lot of those lately. And that's a funny joke. But I was like, you know what, I'll bring it back. But then I bought some Apple stuff, so clearly respecting the cost-cutting. But you get some free subscriptions, right? So I went and I checked my Apple ID, and it said I get 3 months free. There's a new Airplane series that's coming up that looks pretty good, and a couple other ones. And I saw this one. Might watch Ted Lasso for the 4th time. To be determined. We'll see how the holidays go. I have a little more spare time on my hands these days, Steve. Might watch some shows. I'll be like Ryan O'Donnell watching movies every day.
There we go.
Hannah Waddington is probably the most talented of all of the people from the Ted Lasso show. Multiple languages, unbelievable singer. And if you have seen the show, you know she can sing. That's legit, by the way. And she's been live theater all her life, everything else. And I just think she's dynamite. So when I saw a Hannah Waddington Christmas, I thought, okay, like Michael Bublé Christmas, that kind of thing, right? It's about 45 minutes long. It's not huge. It's quite light. I'll share my thoughts in a second, but I did want to bring it to you, Steve, so you can see the trailer of it. I don't know if the trailer even does it justice, to be honest, but it is so good. It's on Apple TV, Home for Christmas and Hannah Waddington.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to my festive extravaganza. Let's get on with the show. Oh, there's a heart with holly, singing silent night. Dress the tree with angel hair, pretty, pretty lights. All these things and more, baby. That's what Christmas means to me, my love.
I'm your Christmas miracle!
All right. It is so cool. Have you had a chance to watch it yet?
I have not, but I know the wife will be all over that one because she loves Hannah Waddington. She loves Hannah Waddingham as well, and loves Christmas specials. And because I think the last one that we took in was the very Murray Christmas, the Sofia Coppola one with Bill Murray. But this one looks really great, and his name is in the credits, so Phil Dunster is in this one, who has a really great singing voice himself.
I did not know that, by the way, until I watched this. Yeah, Jamie Tart. Right.
And then, so I mean, now that we're not on the radio, I can say I wonder if Roy fucking Kent shows up.
Well, I can tell you this, that Bert, which is his name, which is way less cool in real life. Brett, sorry.
Brett.
Still, okay, maybe moderately more cool.
A little bit cooler than
for
Bert.
all of the Berts and Bretts. I can tell you this, so I don't want to give it away. I can tell you that all of the clearly British actors show up. You saw Juno Temple there in that one. But they did a masterful job of, I think, the actors that were working and couldn't make it, but they kind of did this sort of segue bit.
Nice
in it. Let me put it this way: it's worth watching because everybody shows up in some capacity. Everybody.
And it looks like Nick Mohammed suspended on wires there.
He's
at
funny.
one point. Yeah, he's really, really great. Like even before Ted Lasso, like I already enjoyed him and stuff. So he was a familiar face when I saw episode 1 of Ted Lasso. So
yeah, it's I can tell you this: it's not very well written in some ways because it's kind of corny. She talks about how glamorous she looks and how great the dresses are an awful lot. Like the scripted stuff, I think could have had a little more meat on the bone. But she calls in favors from all of these choirs and these amazing people to come and join her. And of course, all of the folks from Ted Lasso. I really hope she gets more of it because at the same time, the way they put it all together is extremely well written. So, I think that her personality, that was her payoff for all of her hard work, for all of the stuff she's done. Ted Lasso, here's your special in a theater that her mom used to work in.
That's amazing.
It's stunning. And when Phil Dunster picks up the microphone and sings, I think you're going to be shocked, even if you know he's a good singer. Yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. And Phil Dunster is one of the stars made from Ted Lasso. And I would say on a North American level, Ted Lasso was a good launching place for Hannah Waddingham, even though she's had a very, like you said, a very storied career. But North America wise, I think there's like to your mainstream audience, Ted Lasso is what she's going to be known for. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, Juno Temple got made from Ted Lasso. And I'm like, hold up. She was in Dark Knight Rises. Okay, she already did a Nolan movie, so she's already made in that opinion.
Then Fargo right after.
And Fargo is flying right now.
Yeah,
such a good series.
Maybe we should include it what it is. Okay, so if you go to shiftheads.ca, that's our Facebook group. Search Shiftheads Canada, and you're going to find the group, thousands of people there for you. And if you're just joining us, this used to be a radio show, and here we are trying new things. So we're learning as we go. So if you have suggestions, let us know what you're going through. Let us know what you see. Let us know what you want. Put your comments below. If you have suggestions for Steve, put it in the comments. Tag him. He's on the group. And do all that, and get in touch with us, because we're happy to be in touch with you. And I have to say again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everybody who's been listening in. I can tell you this, the timelessness of everything on YouTube is a little bit different for us, but for those that are listening in real time when we publish this, coming up on Sunday, we already have a couple of pieces ready to go for you. And what does that look like? I can tell you we're taking a trip to France, and we are going to meet a Canadian couple that sold their place in Southern Ontario, and they swapped it out for a chateau in France. And they've got it's kind of like a bed and breakfast sort of retreat thing going on there. And we're going to chat with them, and that and more coming up here on the Shiftheads podcast on Sunday. Steve Stebbing.ca. If you want to go check it out, Steve, great to see you, bud. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Heart, everybody.
Oh, you could do hearts now. It's not on the radio anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thanks everybody for being here. Shiftheads.ca to check it out. I'm Shane Hewitt.